Thank you. Councilmember Elrich.
So I've been pondering for a while what I'm going to do with this plan. And I'm going to hold with the vote I took last week because I don't see any point at this point in voting against it. But I have different answers to some of the questions that have been posed. And I don't know where to begin, but maybe I'll start with the notion about anybody asking for planning by plebiscite. I don't believe in planning by plebiscite either. But I don't believe in what the planning department's doing. I mean, this planning department, which likes to talk about its long and storied history, is moving about as rapidly as possible from the things that earned it a reputation as they possibly can. And, you know, my own experience serving on the Silver Spring Sector Plan CBD Advisory Committee, Citizens Advisory Committee, where the CBD was drawn about as tightly as you could around the commercial area and yet involved all the surrounding neighborhoods because there was an understanding that what I do in the core or what I do in the center, which is vital to the neighborhoods surrounded, affects the neighborhoods that surround it. And so all of us were brought into it. And I was a Tacoma Park resident living off of Flower Avenue. It wasn't like I was a direct next door neighbor, but I was representing the city of Tacoma Park. And so I think, you know, the answer is not to go to a plebiscite system, but I do think the answer is we have to move back to citizens advisory committees that have votes, that have discussions, as tedious and as painful as that may be for people who see the future so clearly that they don't want to be bothered by people who may not see it the way they see it. We need to go through that process. And if we go through that process, I never know plans that ever came out of Montgomery County that had no growth. It never happened that residents stood up and said, nothing's happening here. Things always happened here. And the county changed, and it got a reputation, a positive reputation for the kind of changes it was able to embrace. So my response to the people who's unhappy is that I'm going to work very hard, and I know some other colleagues have some misgivings about where we've gone, and that we can redirect the board to do planning in a way that's more inclusive of the community, not just more meetings and charrettes, but like actually being allowed to vote on something. What a novel concept. And I think, you know, the concern about reaching out to the broader community, not the folks who are always represented by the neighborhood associations, is equally valid. We can do, and we have to find a way to do both. It can neither be dominated by the most active people in the neighborhood, nor dominated by planners, not meaning it to be too pejoratively. There's got to be a process better than the process we've gotten ourselves to. I give the council credit for making a lot of substantial changes. Roger has listed a number of things that radically improve this plan. And in particular, the making a mess out of River Road, which is totally unnecessary for people who wanted to redevelop a shopping center. Why we went down that rabbit hole, I don't know. More significant to me is the removal of the changes to the I-4 zone. I'm still wondering what day and age I live in where someone talks about eliminating 1,000 jobs and thinks that's a particularly bright idea, which are the number of jobs in the I-4, according to your documents, as originally proposed. And that would have been a serious problem with those folks. We don't have a lot of I-4 land in this county. I-4 land has been disappearing in this county because it's not called I-4 anymore. The point is that where you've got jobs, they may not be the prettiest buildings in the world. You know, I'm sure the jobs in Detroit weren't in the prettiest buildings in Detroit, but they were jobs and they made a difference and they let people make a living and they were good jobs. And I think that, you know, we need to be more understanding. And I'll go back again to my experience in Silver Spring. One of the things the CBD plan did was we left the light industrial at the edge of Silver Spring alone. The places where Jackie was able to find route, the places where there's a million car repair shops, which we all use, and a bunch of other smaller uses that thrive over there. And we didn't bite on it and say, let's just rezone all of the central district for high density. We said, this is appropriate and this is okay. Everybody knew it wasn't beautiful, but everybody was okay with it just the same. And I think that was a good thing. I think we shouldn't oversell the housing difference, frankly. The difference between 12.5% and 15% is not exactly a big number, particularly if you're talking about 1,200 housing units total. And when the planning board tells you this is the only place you can put affordable housing between the Potomac River and Harper's Ferry, The fact that what you're putting there, the delta, is the difference between 12.5% and 15%. It's, well, one project, Roger, not on all. So this, it's something a little bit less to get excited about. We shouldn't, people on the other side shouldn't oversell doom and gloom, and we shouldn't oversell the brilliance of our plan. It is, I believe, going to be better than what's there now, certainly for the shopping center, and River Road will be in a better place. And I think on balance, it's far better than what was brought over to us from the planning board. So I will vote for it. I'll hope that the council entertains provisions that keep us from being put in this position again, which I don't think any of us found particularly entertaining. I want to thank the community for their hard work and for, continuing to talk about this and to continuing to think about it. And nobody gets everything, and, you're not getting everything, which I think you're getting a far, far better plan than what this started out to be. And I think that the council's actions will make it for a better environment over there than had we simply adopted what came over from the planning board. So I will vote for this.
Okay, thank you.